Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third session of the 2025 Winter Ag Workshop Series. Today, we are joined by Kim from the Pennsylvania DCNR, and she'll be talking about educational opportunities that you can engage in with your students from Pennsylvania state parks. So that's pretty exciting. Just a couple things. If you have not done the pretest, the link is in the chat box. Go ahead and do that. There will be a post-test that should pop up at the end, and doing both of those is part of the requirements for Act 48 hours. Now, for this session, if we go a little bit over time, as far as like 48 hours go, you know, if we go past 5, you're okay. Don't worry about that. There could be some extra information that, you can listen to later. Now, your audio and video is off for the rest of the session. If you have something to share or anything like that, there is a chat box. You can go ahead and chat with the whole group. Everything is visible to everyone. And if you think of any questions during this session, go ahead and drop them in the Q&A box and we'll get to them at some point. So with that, I am going to pass it over to Kim. And Kim, I think your screen sharing dropped for now.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to try to, there we go.
Perfect.
And thank you so much, Cassidy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on education opportunities with Pennsylvania State Parks. I'm very excited to be here with you today, and I'm very excited to be talking about one of my greatest passions, which is Pennsylvania State Parks and all the different opportunities that they offer. So my name is Kim Lutt, also go by Kimberly. I'm a natural resource program specialist in Harrisburg. This is my 19th year working with Pennsylvania State Parks. I started my career down in Kings Gap, which is in Cumberland County. And I was there for 7 years. Then I moved to Potter County to work in Cameron County at Cinemahoning State Park. And after 10 years working at Cinemahoning State Park, I accepted a promotion to Harrisburg, where I currently serve as the coordinator for Project WET, Watershed Education, and Pennsylvania Land Choices. So Cassidy, just making sure, are my slides advancing as we go, and you can still see everything that I want to be showing you, is that correct?
Yep, you're good.
Awesome, thank you very much. Okay, so what I'd like to cover today, first I'd like to start out with an introduction to DCNR, who we are and what we do. And then I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about what Pennsylvania State Parks have to offer for teachers. Then we're going to take a closer look at some of those programs. We won't be able to talk about all of the programs, but we're going to take a closer look at some of those programs and see what they might look like. And then we're going to wrap up with ways that you can stay connected with Pennsylvania State Parks and give you some time for some questions at the end. I'm going to open up the chat here. If you have any questions as we go along, please go ahead and type it into the chat. I will be stopping from time to time to ask to see if you have any questions, and that's when we'll catch up with everything in the chat. Okay. So just to start things off, if you could please go ahead and type in the chat. Just give me your first name, what county you live in, and what you teach. So if you are a teacher, what you teach. If you're not a formal educator, if you could please put in there non-formal educator and what organization you work with. So go ahead and type in the chat. Put your name, the county you live in, and what you teach. I'm seeing the chats coming in now. We have Nikki from Luzerne, who teaches special education and science. Ross, 9th grade biology. Dawn is an ESL teacher. Julie teaches science and in English and language arts. Awesome, now they're coming in too fast for me to keep up with. We have Angela, who teaches 4th grade math. Oh, interesting, I was expecting more ag teachers, and this is really awesome. Debbie, who teaches, is an aide with 9th grade. Erie County curriculum, that's interesting. Indiana County. I don't see all of the replies. Cassidy, is that something you can help her with? She doesn't see the other replies that are coming through. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Gives me an idea. It looks like you folks are all over Pennsylvania, and which is great because we have state parks all over Pennsylvania also. You also teach a wide variety of different subjects and different grade levels, and that is perfect because we have programs for a wide variety of audiences. So let me just talk a little bit first about DCNR. DCNR stands for the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. Now, most people, when they think of DCNR, they think we're all sitting together in one office, but this isn't true. There are hundreds of employees that work with the Bureau of, with DCNR, actually 900 or so. So there's quite a lot of employees. DCNR is broken down into bureaus. Bureau of State Parks that I work for is one of those bureaus. A separate bureau would be the Bureau of Forestry, Bureau of Recon, Bureau of Geological Services. We also call it TopoGeo. The Bureau of Facility Design and Construction. They design all of the buildings and take care of everything for us. And we have administrative services that covers like personnel, human resources, and IT. So lots of different bureaus within the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. The mission of DCNR is to conserve and sustain Pennsylvania's natural resources for present and future generations' use and enjoyment. So basically what that mission statement is saying, that we are conserving and sustaining, but not just for right now. We're thinking about the future. And we want to make sure that you can use those for outdoor recreation as well as just enjoying by visiting. Pennsylvania State Parks, their mission is to focus on education and outdoor recreation. So when we take a look at all of Pennsylvania, we see all of the Pennsylvania state parks across the state. We actually right now have 124 state parks in Pennsylvania. Across this entire state, we have 125 educators. Yes, that's a big number. So we don't have one educator at every park. Some of the parks function as a complex where you'll have 3 or 4 parks together that will share educators. Some parks such as Jacobsburg, Nolde Forest, and Presque Isle, and Jennings, I'm pointing at the screen like you can't see that, but Jennings are environmental education centers, and that would include Kings Gap, where I had started my career. So these 125 educators have spent the last 2 years becoming trained in MWES, which is Meaningful Watershed Environmental Educational Experiences, and STEELS, which is the new standards for Pennsylvania as teachers. You already knew that, but I wanted to let you know so that everyone knew that we have been trained. Oh boy, we've gone through all kinds of in-house trainings. We've had experts come in. We have presented workshops to each other and to the public. So we are ready to help you with your STEELS needs. So if you are ready to start adding some more 3D learning, maybe more inquiry-based learning into your offerings, Pennsylvania State Parks can help you with that. So what do Pennsylvania State Parks have to offer you as teachers? Well, we do both programs for students and we do workshops for teachers. Let's take a look first at the opportunities for you and your students. So we don't call them field trips, we call them field learning experiences. So let's go. Pennsylvania State Parks are a great place to get some hands-on learning, investigating field are doing field investigations and practicing scientific inquiry. So we function basically as outdoor living laboratories where you can get hands-on, see something different, get out and explore the natural phenomena that are occurring around you. Our parks with many different, there are many different habitats in Pennsylvania state parks, and these are filled with different natural phenomenon that you can get up close and see, that you can investigate, and lots of things for children to, students to interact with and experience. We have many, with 124 state parks in over 30,000 acres. We have many different habitats to explore. We have rivers and streams. We have lakes and ponds. We have forests and fields and lots of different places for you to investigate. And these are actual pictures taken in some of our parks. We offer programming for all different ages. So we have a wide variety of programs open to all ages. So we do work with the pre-K, which is some of our favorite little students. So we work with pre-K all the way through elementary school, middle school, high school, and even beyond. The picture on your left there, that is a college class that has come out to parks to engage in watershed education. We offer a wide range of topics. So not only do we do the typical stream studies and nature walks, but we also offer outdoor recreation and historical programming. With the America's 250 coming up, we have spent the last 2 years prepping with our historical programming in mind. We have been doing research and learning many different hands-on methods of teaching about the history that relates to Pennsylvania's past, as well as the history of our Pennsylvania state parks. So keep that in mind if you're looking for something different to do with your students with America's 250th coming up in 2026. So just kind of giving you a look what a field trip or an outdoor field experience may look like at Pennsylvania state parks. We can accommodate from some very small groups. Sometimes with preschoolers, you may only bring 10 students out at a time and you work with just one educator. And then there are other times where you need to bring the entire 5th grade all on the same day. Now, we do prefer smaller groups over the big groups, but with the big groups, we will allow time to change between groups. We do give you time at lunch to take a break. And we do have pavilions where we can, you could use for lunch if it happened to be raining or inclement weather that day. A lot of our parks do have playgrounds, and some of our parks even have natural playgrounds where they get to experience the natural materials in an outdoor setting. So that's a nice, unique experience for some of the students. So we were talking about the outdoor field experiences, and these are educational experiences that can be held at our park. Now, this is what we're probably most known for, is our outdoor nature walks, stream studies, that sort of thing. So you can hop on the bus and you can bring the students to us. Now, make sure you reach out to the state park nearest you in well enough in advance. We do ask you to schedule at least 3 months in advance, and with any changes to let us know at least 2 months in advance. Some parks who have a little bit more demand on their time do ask you to schedule at least an entire 11 months in advance. So if you just finished up your May field trip, they will ask you by the 1st of June to schedule for the following May, just to be able to handle the demand. Other options are we can come to you, whether it's through a virtual program like we're doing right now, but we do offer hands-on activities through virtual programming. You see they're doing some bird adaptation programs here, or we can come to your school and use your schoolyard as as an example of an outdoor field experience. We can also work in the classroom with your students. Let's say they're planning to come out for a stream study, and maybe we can do the water chemical testing or look at some of the macroinvertebrates before you would come out to the field, to the park to study in the field with us. So just some of the different options. Again, the outdoor programming is probably what we're known best for. This is an example of a stream study. You see the student with the ID sheet. We've got our park educator down on the left, helping the students to explore what they have found so far. And you can see the strainer in their hand. So this is one of their favorite activities they do. So we can do outdoor programs. But we can, some of our parks are even able to accommodate indoor programming. So we do have parks with nature centers, visitor centers, and indoor classrooms. Some parks do, and they're able to do programming 12 months out of the year. So definitely check with the park that is nearest you about indoor facilities as well. Like I said, we can accommodate large groups by bringing in extra educators, whether it's from the conservation districts or 4-H, or maybe from forestry or other bureaus. But we do prefer that we keep the group size smaller. This is one group heading out to do a little bit of inquiry-based learning. We're taking some opening questions, trying to get them engaged with what they might expect to see on this nature walk that's about to happen. And then we'll walk them out there. If we can keep the group sizes between 12 and 15 into each breakout group. And then when we go out into the forest, then we'll be able to give them time to explore, touch things, see things, hear things that they wouldn't be able to do in a much larger group. And we do like to allow for time for hands-on study. Seeing a student with a magnifying lens or a microscope is always one of my favorite things. So just being able to do more hands-on, more inquiry-based with the smaller groups. Okay, so what does a field experience at a Pennsylvania State Park look like? So it would start with a phone call where you would contact the state park nearest you, and you would give them the information. So you would tell them what dates you have in mind. Now, if you have a specific date, please give them that date. But if you can give them a range of date, that is best. And then we want to know who the contact person is. So who is the main contact who will be working with the park educator? We would need your phone number, your email. I'm using this example because Emily Kellogg is an high school ag teacher at Coudersport High School, and she is one of my favorite educators to work with. We worked together for at least 7 years when I was at Cinemahoning State Park, and since then we've even reached out for a couple of other programs. So basically, these are the questions that I would ask. We also ask if you have any students with special concerns, like do we need to accommodate a wheelchair, or will you have someone who is sensitive to lights, or is unable to stay with the group for the entire experience. So just kind of let us know if anyone has any special concerns or things different learning strategies that we may need to enact in order to help that student the best. And then we will also let you know. So Emily, when she contacted me, wanted to do a program where we were learning to identify birds and then doing a field study where we would actually use eBird and Merlin app to go out and identify the birds that were in the park and then submit these findings through iNaturalist. And this was a really fun, fun investigation. So it went right with her natural resources management class that she teaches. The next step then would be determine what activities you would like for us to teach you that day. So for this program, Emily had selected monitoring our changing climate. So it was an indoor introduction to why do we monitor birds and what does studying birds tell you about the environment. And then she wanted us to lead the students on a bird identification hike. Then we're going to go back into the classroom, enter the data that we collect. So we're entering live data right onto the website. And then after that, Cinemahoning State Park actually has 3 bald eagle nests in the park. And we took those students, we drove them down to the lake, put them on a pontoon boat, and gave them a close-up look at a bald eagle nest. And we looked for bald eagles in the area and identified other birds that may have been on the lake that day. So this was a really fun field trip. The next thing that you would do is we find out what programs that you want to receive from our education staff. And the next thing we would do then is set up a schedule for the day. We try to allow plenty of time for these activities. When you give us really large groups, we need to add more time in for group switching, and it takes a little while to get the students centered again. When we have the smaller groups like this, we're able to set up a schedule that works really well and accommodate the travel time. Okay. So that is what a field trip. Here's another one. This was an elementary school teacher. Again, this was, they were studying different animals in the 2nd grade. So different types of animals, mammals, birds, reptiles, and they wanted to learn more about habitats. So she contacted me. Then we decided that we're going to start out with a fun we started out with a bingo and a habitat game just to kind of get them thinking about different types of habitats. Then we took them out for what you guys call a nature walk, and we call it an animal traces hike. So we're looking for signs of different animals that may be in the forest, and we may take them, and then so half the group will be doing the animal traces hike, then the other half of group will switch around and we'll be doing a stream study. So we'll actually get them along the streams. They will dip their nets into the streams, pull out different macroinvertebrates and identify them. So we're looking very closely at 2 different habitats, a terrestrial habitat and aquatic habitat. And then again, we shared the schedule, a much simpler schedule for 2nd graders than it was for high schoolers. Okay, so do you have any questions about school field trips or outdoor field experiences for your students? If you have any questions now, you can, Cassidy, can they unmute themselves or should they just type it into the chat?
They can type it into the chat or Q&A.
Okay, perfect. Oh, I don't know how to open my Q&A. Do I know how to do it? Yes, I do. Okay, awesome. Okay, nothing in there yet. Great. And then again, if you don't want to ask questions now, again, I'll give you time at the end of the presentation to ask any questions that you might have. Okay, awesome. What's another way that we can help teachers, that Pennsylvania State Parks can help teachers? And that is through educator workshops. So we are really well known for our field trips for students, but one of the things our staff enjoys the most is offering educator workshops where we can work with other adult educators who enjoy reaching out and teaching about the outdoors with their students. So Pennsylvania State Parks is an Act 48 provider. So every workshop that you attend, you can receive Act 48 hours. In some cases, we even offer IU units. So that would be 30 Act 48 hours put together into one IU unit. These workshops can be held at a state park, or we can come to your school. If you can guarantee us at least 10 teachers who would be interested, we could come to your school maybe during an in-service day or after school, or maybe on a weekend, or whatever. One of those days, so we can come visit you. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be. And then we can offer workshops. We can do them in person, again, at a state park or in the school. Or we can do them in a hybrid manner. Sometimes we do straight virtual. We have a couple of programs that we can do virtually. And we also offer hybrid programs where we'll do an introduction virtually, and then that'll be followed by maybe a 6-hour field day, just to accommodate those people who had a little bit further to drive. So these are different types of workshops that we can offer. So what subjects do we offer? And this is where kind of can help you a little bit here with your pre and post test. But what are some of the curricula that we teach? So we are certified as host institutions for 3 different national curricula. Those national curricula are Project Wild, Project Wet, and Project Learning Tree. Now, Project Wild, you may have heard about before. That includes Project Wild itself, Growing Up Wild, Aquatic Wild, Flying Wild, and the new Climate and Wildlife module. Project Wet includes the foundations of water education, getting little feet wet, healthy water, healthy people, wonders of wetlands, and again, climate, water, and resilience. And PLT, again, has elementary or early elementary, which is called Trees and Me, elementary, early middle school, Explore Your Environment. And then they have secondary modules for high schoolers, which includes Green Jobs, which is a look at different careers that you can have in outdoor education, or in basically outdoor careers such as forestry, research, and environmental education. One that's called Focus on the Forest, and several other secondary modules. So you may hear about those. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth after I give you the introduction here about the Project WET curriculum. And then we have 4 Pennsylvania-specific curricula. These are programs that were developed by Pennsylvania State Parks within DCNR to be more Pennsylvania-specific and more hands-on for both students and educators. The 4 Pennsylvania curricula include the Watershed Education, which is a DCNR program, Pennsylvania Songbirds, which just got a facelift last year, so it is all new and ready to go. Pennsylvania Land Choices, which is in the middle of a facelift, and we are getting reinvigorated and promoting that program. And Go Teach series. Go Teach includes Go Teach Hiking, Go Teach GPS, and Go Teach Snowshoeing. So these are programs to teach outdoor recreation. So again, I am the state coordinator for Project WET, Watershed Education, and Pennsylvania Land Choices. So I thought we would just take a closer look at these 3. But before I do, I'm just going to check real quick to see if they're, can you talk a little bit about your loaner programs? Yes, I can do that. So we do work a lot with outdoor recreation. That is one of the a key part of the mission of Pennsylvania State Parks. Through our Go Teach curriculum, we do have a loaner program where if you attend a Go Teach workshop, so whether you go to Go Teach, if you go, I'm going to use Go Teach Snowshoeing because that one's very popular this winter. If you would attend a Go Teach Snowshoeing workshop, and you complete all of the certification for that, you are then eligible to borrow the equipment as well as all of the and use all of the lesson plans for that curriculum at least 2 times, that you can be able to work with your students on that curriculum. So take your students snowshoeing, or teach them how to snowshoe, take them snowshoeing, go explore the forest on snowshoes. And we'll let you use those 2 times. And Christine Ticehurst arranges all of that. And boy, what a project that is for her. But she makes sure that teachers all across Pennsylvania have access to those snowshoes. The other program is Go Teach Hiking. So you will get hiking poles, you will get maps and compasses, and then there's Go Teach GPSs, which is navigation. You also get compasses with that, GPS units, and she will teach you, she will give you a beginner kit for geocaching, which is kind of fun. So Ross, did that answer your question about the loaner program? Okay, awesome. And if you'd like to know more about that, go ahead. I'm going to give you some contact information at the end. Please feel free to reach out to me. I will put you in touch with Christine, and she can teach you a little bit more about that. Okay, so we're going to look next at Project WET. Project WET is one of the 3 that I manage through my job here. Just trying to make sure that so I lost what I wanted to refer to here. Okay. So introduced nationally in 1992, let me bring this over here. Project WET came to Pennsylvania shortly after that, or in the early 1990s. At first, it was managed by Department of Education. Then it was transferred to Pennsylvania State Parks and Pennsylvania Association for Environmental Educators, PAEE, in 2014. So you may have heard a little bit about it back in the 90s and early 2000s, but 2014, we pushed hard to promote the Project WET curriculum. So Pennsylvania State Parks is one of two host institutions for Project WET, but they actually have hundreds of partners, not just nationally, but worldwide. They're in something like 60 different countries promoting advancing water education and inspiring solutions. So I'm really impressed with the educational programs through Project WET. So let me just show you a little bit more. They do have, Project WET does have a national website, and you can find that, oops, see if I can go previous, sorry about that. But it's a simple website to remember. It's just projectwet.org, and they have a wonderful website that will give you all of the information and all the background information on them. They do focus mostly on youth education, but they also have adult outreach programs. You may, if some of you teachers who have been around a couple of years, you may remember Project WET when it first came out. It came out as a curriculum and activity guide, again, back in 1992. That was soon followed in that was actually 2014, where they got the Guide 2.0. However, after the Guide 2.0, they also have other parts of the program that you can find online. There is the Conserve Water, which is an education guide, which actually has a lot of agriculture ties to it about how we all use water. It's really interesting to look at some of these water use activities. We have the Wonders of Wetlands, talking about all different types of wetlands and the importance of those. There's a program called Healthy Water, Healthy People, which is doing chemical monitoring of streams. They also have a kids series. They even have one that is, I brought it with me here today. I didn't get it scanned, but water, agriculture, and food for any of the ag teachers that are out there. Some of the activities in that one would be water and the food you eat, which is an interesting activity. Water works for agriculture. Watershed neighbors from farm to fork. So talking about all the other water users that may be also using the water resources that farmers need, and how farmers may be influencing the quality of water around them. Going like history of growing food, and then the future of farming. So I really like that, and how they're very water-based, but they talk about just things that are important to teachers and students in these times. The two newest curricula are Climate, Water, and Resilience, which is a wonderful study of climate change and what students need to know. I was impressed with this because it is extremely non-political, and it just gives students choices. The more we teach about climate, they have done studies where they found that the more we teach about climate, the more anxiety students are showing. And when someone has too much anxiety, they get into a point of inaction instead of action. So this book really addresses the needs of the students as well as the needs of the teachers, working through grades 6 through 12 on how to talk about climate change and empower your students to take action that is meaningful to them. The other new publication is our pre-K to 2 guide, which is called Getting Little Feet Wet. So it took all the activities in the Guide 2.0, figured out which ones were the best for the smallest learners, and found ways to make them hands-on and tie them with activities, games, food, snacks, ways that we can meet them through all of their senses. Okay, so you're like, wow, there's a lot going on with Project WET, and that is okay. But there's a couple more changes. We have a couple more changes coming. I said changes in changes that did occur in 2024, and you're going to be hearing about it more this year. The Guide 2.0 that we all know and love has been discontinued. It has been replaced by a series of 4 smaller books. They did some research. The Guide 2.0 was about this thick. It had something like 79 different activities in it. It also cost $40. I don't know about all of you, but sometimes your budgets don't allow for you to buy a $40 educational supplement, right? So what they did instead is they broke it down into 4 smaller guides, which would be more affordable. These guides are somewhere from $12.95 to $14.95, and they make it more affordable for Pennsylvania State Parks to offer individual workshops. So the workshops that we would offer you in Project WET now would have a theme. So let me just kind of show you here. The Foundations in Water Literacy came out last year. So this is basic water chemistry, just an introduction as why water important, what is a watershed. So basically they took the 12 most popular activities out of the Project WET 2.0 guide, and they offered it to coordinators like myself to purchase for $12.95, and I can do more workshops and we can focus just on these topics. However, they have plans to come out with 3 new ones. The one that's coming out this year, and it's at the printer now, is called What? And if you see the topics and you know a little bit about NGSS and STEELS, you may think that some of these topics are a little bit familiar. One book is based on water and earth systems. So it took the 22 lessons that best support the study of what the science study of water and earth systems. And we will be offering workshops then that are themed around water and earth systems. So if you're a science teacher in grade that teaches grade 8, this may be where you want to go. This may be the book that is most useful for you. However, if you are working with high school students let's go back to grades 3 to 5, and we're talking about human health and water is life. So we're talking about some of the health needs, and then as we're looking at high school, we're kind of looking at ecosystems. Then the book that's coming out in 2026 is just the book for you. It talks about how water relates to ecosystems and human health. And then the final book, which they plan on releasing in 2027, it focuses on the science and of management and culture, the nature versus nurture. They haven't come up with a title for the book yet. And this includes management of water resources and how that impacts how we think about it in our cultures. So a lot of changes coming up, but I'm very excited about being able to offer a themed workshop instead of trying to cover that entire big book, that we can have themed workshops that are more useful for both for the teachers and for the students to help direct them to particular topics that they want to cover. So all of Project WET's activities have been sorry, I just lost my train of thought. All of the activities in Project WET have been correlated to NGSS standards. So NGSS is what our STEELS standards are based on. If you look at the S, T, and E parts of the STEELS, you see a lot of the S parts are the NGSS standards. What we are doing at Pennsylvania State Parks is we are now taking all of our national curricula, and I should have that list available to you very soon. And we're taking all of the national curricula and taking the Foundations of Water Education book and breaking it down for each activity and aligning it with how does this help you meet not only the STEEL standards, but the 3D components of the STEEL of each standard. So how does this relate to the cross-cutting concepts? And such. So we are ready to go with that. And again, we went through a lot of training on learning about STEEL standards, and we want to make these activities as useful for you as possible. So we have the NGSS Next Generation Standards, Everything has also been, all of the Project WET activities have been aligned to Common Core, which will correlate to your ELA and math standards. And again, we will be aligning those to all of the Pennsylvania all the new books to the Pennsylvania standards. Okay, and you can find all of this information if you go to projectwet.org/standards, and you click, you can download the table for your grade bands of your K2, 3 to 5, middle school, high school. Just click on that red link on the website, and it will take you all to all of those correlations. And again, you'll have the Common Core correlations also available on that same website. One of the things I like best about Project WET is all of their online resources. They just have outstanding digital resources, and they have online trainings as well. So if you are interested in the climate, water, and resilience and can't find a workshop at a park near you in time for when you need it, you can actually take the online module for climate, water, and resilience. They also have an online module for the foundations of water education. These modules do cost a little bit of money. However, if you sign up for a Project WET workshop at a Pennsylvania state park, we will give you a code that you can actually do the entire module for the cost of for the same fee that it costs you to attend the workshop. So if you pay $20 to attend a Pennsylvania State Park workshop, you can actually go through the entire module after the workshop, or to prepare for the workshop. Again, they have a lot of these publications. So basically, they're workbooks that align with the activity. So if you're working on a water conservation unit, you can get the booklet "Conserve Water" for your students. Again, there's a booklet for getting little feet wet. There's a booklet for stormwater, and stormwater affects all of us outdoor educators, whether we're agriculture, horticulture, or whether we're teaching about environmental education. Another fun thing on their website is the discoverwater.org. It is actually activities that your students can play online. It is a safe website. You have to check it with your administration, of course, but you just kind of click on all these different buttons, and these are all different activities that line up with the activities in the book. So if you don't want to buy the workbook to go with an activity, you can actually go online and let your kids play I call it play, interact with the discoverwater.org activity center. So that's a lot of fun, and it actually reinforces everything that they learned during the lesson. You can get online maps and posters. You can get lots of storybooks and other activity booklets. So if you like to read to your students to introduce a topic, lots of different books available online. And then they do have lots of downloadables. There is the water cycle game where you talk about where you have the kids roll the dice, and then you go around to different activity stations. You can actually download the cubes and all of the station markers and other things. Okay, I think that's almost enough. Oh, one more page. So Project WET, the other thing I like about it is they have an education portal. If you attend one of our workshops, let's say you get the Guide 0.0 or the Foundations Guide, you can get all of your printable activity pages right here on the portal. Your correlations, again, are right here, and lots of different resources, different websites, different worksheets that you can refer to. So what would a typical Project WET workshop look like? These are kind of fun. So they can vary depending on the amount of time. We usually recommend that we do 6 hours for a Project WET workshop. So a 6-hour workshop from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. will give you 5.5 at 48 hours. They may be set up a little bit differently, but the standard one, back when we were doing Project WET 2.0, we kind of tried to show you activities from various different parts of the book. We did the activity Blue Planet. We've got Thunderstorm, Drop in the Bucket, Incredible Journey, Getting the Groundwater Picture, H2O Olympics, Pass the Jug, so many. So it looks like they at this workshop in November of 23, Renee and Kelly took took everyone through at least 8 different activities in the 5.5 hours, and that's amazing. The one we did last summer for a particular school, so we were, the Boyertown school reached out to us, like, oh, it was the IUs, the Berks County IU reached out to us. We went to Boyertown, and they wanted to know how they could do a MWE, or a meaningful watershed educational experience with their students if they didn't have a stream. So if you don't have access to a stream, how are you going to meet your MWE requirements? And we showed them how that they can do stormwater and talk about land cover and how that's a good stormwater mitigation. So we took them through the rainy day hike, we did the stormwater activity, but we actually walked them through a typical MWE using inquiry-based style learning. So we took them outside, we had them make observations, and then we had them do investigations after lunch and plan what their stewardship activity would be. So that was a fun workshop, and I see that I would kind of put that as an ideal way for us to go in the future. Okay, let me just check time. Any questions about Project WET? I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking and you guys don't have a lot of questions. Okay, in the next section, I'm going to tell you a little bit about watershed education, and I do want you to come up with some questions for this. So anybody questions before I move on to watershed education? Okay, so the Pennsylvania State Parks developed the watershed education curriculum to help teachers teach about watershed and water quality issues. Again, it's inquiry-based. It is, well, that's a weird way for me to have written that, but okay, sorry about that. It is geared for students in grades 6 through 12, so it is middle school, high school, and it combines both hands-on and field investigations. And it is modeled on professional research methodologies. This is important. These are the same methods that DEP uses to assess watersheds in Pennsylvania. So we're using those very same techniques, and we're teaching students the importance of using good science to study watershed issues. Love this program, and it is one of our most popular. So we start out in the classroom. They want to learn a little bit about their community. What is the history of the community? They learn a little bit about their watershed. Then they will go outdoors. They will collect stream data, and then they will network with partners and their community and participate in service learning activities or stewardship projects. Sounds a little bit like a MWE. So Watershed Ed fully supports MWEs and the ELS instills. If you look at the ELS requirements and you do a complete Watershed Ed program, you are meeting those ELS requirements so easily. There are even school districts and areas of the state who actually have a year-long program that they call Community Connections to Our Watershed Forum. So they call it a forum where the students will meet 9 different times throughout the school year, going on different field trips to go out and meet the members of the community and see what type of water quality issues they are engaging in. Again, if you're an agriculture teacher or you work with land conservation, this is a great way to pull in environmental educators and your teachers in order, and your students in order to teach about these water quality issues that affect everyone. On the small picture down here on the left, they are visiting American Water, which is where they get their drinking water in the town of Wilkes-Barre. So they went to see where does their water come from and how is it treated and what issues are they running into. They also went to the sewage treatment plant and what happens when they collect storm water. They have a combined sewage there. So what happens when that combined sewage, how is that treated and how does that affect their water quality? They also did an investigation in acid mine drainage, and they visited this stream intersection where we have an impaired stream meeting a healthy stream, and they were able to do stream studies on both the impaired water and the healthy water, comparing and trying to see what different factors influence that. and how can they take action to help. And apparently there were some birds flying by about the time that these high schoolers were having their pictures taken, but at least they're all in the picture, so that's important. Okay, so I did say that it involves both field experiments, so we do chemical, which is the big picture on the right, biological surveys, and we do physical studies measuring the width and the rate of flow of a stream. We also have indoor components of the Watershed Ed program. So we'll spend a great deal of time looking at watershed maps, understanding the different tributaries that lead to the location where they are and where their water flows after it leaves them. We will teach teachers who can teach the students how to work with these chemicals indoors first before they go and do stream studies. We will also bring macroinvertebrates to the classroom so they can practice identifying them before they go and collect them. One of the things I like best about the Watershed Ed program is that we make it Pennsylvania specific. So as you're looking at the picture on the bottom right, this is a picture of Pittsburgh that was taken in 2023 during a heavy storm that occurred in the central part of the state, causing a lot of sedimentation to be stirred up. So we had very cloudy water in the Monongahela, which had some impaired water quality, versus the Allegheny on the left. Usually the Allegheny is a little bit cloudier, more obscure than the Monongahela. So, but that was an interesting picture, but it shows how it's important to keep it Pennsylvania specific. Just looking at my time here, I do want to show you real quick, do want to show you a couple of things. I'm just going to open up this website if I can, and this what we practice. I'm going to do new share here. Ready? And I'm going to take you over to screen number 1. We actually have a website that is designated 100% for watershed education. And this is at watersheded.dcnr.pa.us. This is a website for educators to prepare for a field trip before you would come to the park. It also is great resources for teaching about watershed education or watershed issues in your classroom. So as I'm looking at this screen, so they have a nice page on just the overview, different sections. They have a list of parks that offers this watershed education program. And we do have a link to maps and everything else. What's interesting is that we have this section on training. Cassidy, can you see my second screen? I forgot to check that with you before I switched. Are you seeing my second screen, or are you still seeing my first screen?
You're on the second one on the browser.
Yay. Okay. Yep. Yeah, that worked. So we actually, when you come to a Watershed Ed workshop, we will have you do some activities in advance before you come. And these are some assignments you can also assign to your high school students, if you would like to. So we have step-by-step instructions on what your homework will look like, but you can also adapt it to be a homework or in-class assignment for your high school students. And if you work with students who are a wide range of abilities, you can challenge your advanced students while being able to spend extra time and let some of your other students then focus on the areas that are most meaningful to them. It's a great way to make watershed education very inquiry-based for the older students while still following scientific protocols. Okay, I think that's all I have time to show you right now. We do have a list of all kinds of maps. These are downloadable for anyone in Pennsylvania or anyone who has access to the website. And we also have a section where we talk about the different parts of studying a stream, whether it's taking those physical measurements, doing chemical testing, and what those results mean. And then biological, we have a lot of information on helping to identify macroinvertebrates. And let me see, one other thing I wanted to show you. We also have a list of equipment and resources. So you don't have to recreate the wheel if you have grant money or if you have MIWI money that you need to spend. We have lists and we have links for different things that you may need to do a stream study at your school. Now I'm going to go back. I'm attempting to go back to this one, see what happens. Did it work?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, Awesome. Okay, let me just get through this real quick. What does a watershed education workshop look like? We recommend usually that a watershed education workshop is a 2-day program. They are long days. They are usually 8 hours on the first day and 6 or 7 hours on the second day. You would want to get an overnight in between or find one that is close to you. But the first day we do most of the indoor part, the background learning. We let you do hands-on. We teach you how to read maps. We teach you actually how to get a topo map and delineate a watershed. So we give you a lot of indoor hands-on training there. The second day would then be all field studies, taking you out and getting you next door to a stream, getting your feet in the water and teaching you how to lead this part of the program. Again, our state park staff is always there to help you. However, if you can teach a couple of the parts in your own school, it costs a little bit less for you in travel and might just be a little bit more doable. We did find a way to break this down into a 1-day training. This is a training that we did last summer at Jacobsburg, and we broke it down to, we gave you homework assignments, which is that page I showed you on the other website. So we will give you some pre-workshop assignments, and then the day of, we tried to keep it down to about, I don't know, 6.5. It ran about 7 hours. We do have, that did not work out the way I was expecting it to. So, whoops, there it is. Okay, we do have a workshop coming up. It's actually next. Whoops, that isn't the one. Oh, we do have a watershed ed workshop coming up on July 25th. This one is up at Ricketts Glen State Park. There is not a better place in the world to study a stream than the place that is known most for all of its waterfalls. Okay. Any questions on our watershed education programs or workshops? I'm checking the chat. Nothing in there. So it's either that I gave you so much information that you are overwhelmed and don't know where to start, or I was talking too much and put all of you to sleep. So type in the chat, let me know how things stand, if you are comfortable with the Project WET and the Watershed Ed programs. Just give me a thumbs up or whatever kind of, go ahead and let me know in there. So the last one, and I'm going to shorten this just a little bit based on time. The other does it cost anything to attend the workshop? We do charge for most of our workshops unless we're with a partner that has grant money that can pay for the registration for the participants. So we do have a MeWe workshop coming up next week that is free for participants. That one is at Greenwood Furnace State Park. Most of our workshops are low cost. Again, these books, like the Watershed Ed book, costs us about $56 to print each one. We charge you $25 for this 2-day workshop. Pretty reasonable, I think, but most of that is just to help us get a little bit of our costs back. And it also helps, these workshops fill up really quick. If we charge $25, people are more committed to coming than if we offer a workshop for free. You would be surprised at the number of no-shows we get. So we try to charge a minimal amount. A lot of great information, trying to process it all. I'm sorry, Angela, I might be going just a little bit too fast. And the Watershed Ed program at Jacobsburg was great. Ross, I thought I recognized your name. If you can get it to get to Ricketts Glen, he recommends it. Ross, I thought I recognized your name there. You were awesome, and I enjoyed having you there. Okay, Pennsylvania Land Choices is a way to study land use, conservation, and sustainable communities. This is an older curriculum that we are in the middle of upgrading. We did a Land Choices workshop recently at Jacobsburg, and we focused on aligning it to MeWE's, which is a meaningful watershed educational experience, and the new STEEL standards. I really like the way the Jacobsburg staff broke this down. We took our normal agenda and then we broke it down to how each part of the agenda would apply, or how it would correlate to the STEEL standards. And then at the end of each activity, they broke it down and looked at the 3D components of each activity. So this was a really interesting activity. And Ross, were you at that one also, I can't remember if you were at both workshops, but we are, based on the feedback that we got at this last workshop, we are completely rewriting the PA Land Choices book. So we have the old books available, but we are kind of looking at it from a Steele's lens now. Now, I've used this term MeWe several times now, and I've used the term MeWe several times now, and I just want to review this for anyone who is new to this. What is a meaningful watershed educational experience? So we call these MeWes. Basically, MeWes have 4 essential elements. First, you would look at the issues that are affecting conservation, water quality, farmland, whatever it is that you are teaching about. So whatever outdoor education we're looking at. Every issue that occurs on land is also occurring within a watershed. So everything counts in this. So if bird numbers are decreasing in your area, you can do a Pennsylvania songbirds activity that ties into studying those birds in your watershed and looking at the factors that are decreasing that. So that would be an issue. So the first part is issue definition. Second part, it must contain at least 2 outdoor field experiences. On part 3, you need to allow students time to collect data. So they're doing investigations or they're doing experiments, they're collecting data. You need to allow the students time to process the data that they have collected, synthesize that data, and make meaning of it that is relevant to them. And that's where inquiry comes in. Let them develop their own conclusions. And based on these conclusions, then the group of students would then create an action project, which is tying in that's the stewardship and civic action. And then that action project then would be the culmination of this meaningful experience. In Pennsylvania, all students in Pennsylvania are required to put all districts in Pennsylvania are required to offer to their students 3 times in their career, once in elementary, once in middle school, and once in high school, a chance to participate in a meaningful watershed educational experience. If you look at the requirements, again, of the essential elements of a MeWe, it aligns with the ELS and Steele's and is a great way to meet those Steele's standard requirements. Okay, based on time, I'm going to just go ahead. Any other questions? Anything else I missed in there? Okay, wonderful. Okay. Anything else? Questions about Pennsylvania Land Choices, MeWes before I move on? I probably should have left it up on the questions. Okay. I hate to shorten you on this. Again, it is 5 o'clock. If anyone cannot stay all the way to the end, that is okay. What I'm going to do at this point is just take you to a couple different websites where you can find more information about how to contact Pennsylvania State Parks and the programs that we offer. This should take no more than 5 minutes. If you do need to leave before my 5 minutes are up, I understand. Drop your email in the chat and I will make sure I send all of these links to you. Okay, so the best way to find out what's going on at Pennsylvania State Parks is to attend a teacher workshop. If you scan the QR code or if you visit our events calendar, and I will send you this link, you can find out what workshops are coming up in Pennsylvania State Parks. So just kind of showing you what, if you click on that link, that will take you to our new and improved DCNR website, which just came out the 1st of January of 25. And this is our new calendar of events. If you filter for teacher workshops. Oh no, this is our calendar of events. The next thing you would want to do is go to the navigation bar and click on filter events. When you click that, you will then select workshops, or down in target audience, select teachers or educators and apply the filter. When you do that, you will get a list of workshops coming up in your area. So this is what's happening here. We have today, there was a workshop at Kinzua Bridge State Park. It was a Project Wild. There is a MIWI workshop at Greenwood Furnace on February 14th. And if you scroll down on that page, you will find the rest of them. There is a Project WET workshop at Lackawanna on February 22nd. You are welcome to attend. He is not full yet. And Tony does a wonderful, wonderful workshop. So we have Project Wild, then we have another Project WET coming up at Little Pine State Park, and a couple of PA Songbirds workshops. Is that helpful? Thumbs up in the chat if that is something that you found helpful. Next thing, here's another QR code. You can subscribe to our Pennsylvania State Parks monthly e-blast. This is a newsletter that we send out through email, through Constant Contact, that highlights all of the workshops coming up, but not just the workshop. It has like tips and tricks for educating your students that month with a particular theme. So again, I just showed you 2 examples. This is December's and this is from June. So we go winter and holiday ideas. So it'll list all of those things. And then it'll give you June is National Great Outdoors Month or Great American Campout. It will give you all kinds of ideas. I know some of you actually have to work in the summertime. So it gives you ideas year round to educate students. So go ahead and use your phone, scan on that QR code if you would like to receive that email. Don't worry, we don't share your email with anyone. I don't like junk mail. I assume you don't like it either. So if you want to receive this colorful and helpful email, go ahead and click it. If you don't want to receive it, you don't have to. All right, the other way to go is go to our DCNR website. That would be at pa.gov/agencies/DCNR. And I can send, Cassidy, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to send you all of these links. If you can send it out in an email, maybe as a follow-up to everyone who had registered, that way they can click on the links as on their own time. So this is the DCNR website. When you're on the DCNR website, what you want to do then is click on the tab for education. So we have our own education page, and I am going to switch screens once again. Let me switch. Okay, I'm going to switch screens one more time. So we're at the DCNR. We're going to go down here. You can find a state park nearest you by clicking Explore State Parks, and that will take you to a map where you can find the state park nearest you, or you can find a state, you can use this map to zoom in. I keep forgetting that they redid this map. So you can pick one of the most popular, you can search by name, or you can just choose one in your area. Okay, so education department, if you go from here, you're going to scroll down to where you get to education over here, and then that takes you to the education page. If you scroll down on the education page, you can go to, this has all of the information that teachers and students would need. That is on this page. If you want to learn more about Pennsylvania land choices and other land conservation, that would be on this tab. If you want to learn more about water education, that is on this tab. That would be Project WET and Watershed Education. And then that would also take you to the link that would get you to the public watershed education page. I know this is a lot of information. So that would get you to that page that we had seen earlier. Okay, so let me switch back over to this one. Okay. Let's see. So I showed you that, showed you the resources, the water education page, land conservation, and that's it. Oh my goodness. If you need to reach, if you have any questions, you are free to email me directly at klott@pa.gov. Yeah, it's only 10 letters. I love it. klott@pa.gov, or call me direct at the office at 717-787-2316. And I am open for questions again. Again, I know some of you need to go. Thank you so much for learning about Pennsylvania state parks today and how we can help you with your outdoor education needs.